Good. Mr. Shutav Jumbam Martin. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, George. How are you?
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
I've been looking forward to this.
It's a dream come true. I'm so excited.
To meeting you for a long time. I've seen you all over the world, and you go around, and I watch you, and I say, hey, and you write very well.
Oh, I follow your example, you know.
Wow.
You have inspired me a lot.
Okay, no problem.
Really, through your writings, I've been inspired to write more.
Okay, that's good.
And in fact, even as a student in Bishop William, I started reading your editor of LA4.
Yes, that's correct.
So I got to know you as far back as 1998. So it's a privilege to be with you, to talk to you about a very important figure.
Yes.
You see behind me is Professor Dr. Bernard Fonlon,
Yes.
who was a distinguished intellectual in politics, an icon in Christian virtues, heroic virtues, cardinal, and in fact, when I was speaking with Monsignor, his classmate Monsignor Alphonsus told me this man had cardinal virtue of fortitude. Despite the way he was sent away from the seminary, he maintained his cool, went for the ordinations of his friends.
That's right. I was told that during the ordination of his friends, he played the piano.
Exactly.
So he did not take his expulsion from the seminary, with bitterness.
Exactly.
Instead, it was with humility.
Accepted the will of God.
Accepted the will of God.
Faith, hope.
That's right. That's the man that he was.
Thank you so much for that. So, I'm very privileged to interview you because you were one of his students. What a privilege and an honor.
Yes, actually before I became his student, I had known him.
Yes.
Because my brother, Martin Jumbam, was a writer.
Yeah, who wrote The White Man of God?
Who wrote The White Man of God.
Wow.
Was his secretary.
In Yaounde?
In Yaounde, when Fonlon was a minister of
transport and later communication.
No, later health, I think.
Health, okay, that's true.
Yeah.
Professor Fonlon talked to me about it.
Yes, that's correct. And my brother was his what they call a private secretary.
Okay, so if you want to meet Fonlon,
yes,
was passed through my brother.
Yes, passed through.
Wow.
And one of Fonlon's books, I think is, I don't know whether it's Assassin or... In fact, my brother happened, Fonlon was on a mission to Europe. Okay. And my brother, he left my brother some of his, his books, his archives, and my brother to take the time to arrange those things. And then my brother saw a manuscript the man had written, back in the 50s. Wow. But it was hidden somewhere among the books. Yes. So when he came back, my brother took it to him and said, hey, look at this. My brother had read through it. He was very impressed. He said, why is this thing hiding among the man's books? Wow. So he showed it to him, and the man himself discovered, kind of rediscovered what he had written. Yeah, what he had written. And he said, oh, this is good. And then he published it. It's one of the...
Is it As I See It?
It's either As I See It or there's another one.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
because according to his publications here, you have.
Yes.
Well, these were all published in Abia.
Yes.
And then we
make Omar. Yeah, that idea of culture. Will we make Omar? I think it's as I see it.
Okay.
I think that was.
I hear it was a small pamphlet.
Yes, it's small. Yeah,
very powerful.
As I see it. Oh God, very powerful. Yes, it's a small pamphlet, but really powerful.
Okay, was that different from his random leaves from my diary?
Oh yes. Oh, okay. No, I think my brother found his random leaves from my diary. No, this is the one because random leaves from my diary.
I got all the copies.
Is that right?
The original, the one he typed.
Oh,
it was in Bigard.
Is that right?
Bigard Major Seminary where he studied.
Yes.
Because as a minister, he sent them there.
Okay, random leaves
from my diary.
That is the one my brother found, and he published it. First of all, serialized it in I think Cameroon
Panorama.
Cameroon Panorama, I think, yes. It was serialized there, published monthly on a monthly basis. And then it became very popular, and then he printed it into a booklet from yes. So my brother was working with him.
I see.
And so there was a kind of family link. Yes, the
That's a link you had through your brother.
Yes, it's through my brother.
Okay.
And then before I went to the University of Yaoundé, I went to the University of Yaoundé in 1970.
Wow.
70 to 70.
I can't believe this.
No.
You look so young.
Oh, boy. I don't want to tell you my age, but
no, you look extremely young. Wow.
yeah. No, I went to the University of Yaoundé in 1970 to 74.
Okay.
I did a bilingual degree,
I see.
and then I was a student when I got to the University of Yaoundé. So when I got to the University of Yaoundé, I already knew him because I had already met him through my brother.
Oh.
Yes, along my kind of family lines, I knew his family in Kumu.
Okay.
So, yes.
But can you recount the first time you met him, face to face?
Yes, face to face.
Before going to Yaoundé, before meeting him in Yaoundé.
No, I met him in Yaoundé I went to Yaoundé, and then my brother. I went to Yaoundé in 1972.
Okay.
Then my brother, before I enrolled in the university,
I see.
my brother took me to his house.
Oh, okay.
And so we met, we had...
Can you recount that meeting?
Usually when you meet somebody like that, like Fonlon, Fonlon is a legend already.
Then
Everybody talked about him.
Okay.
His legendary austerity in many ways, which was quite a surprise to many people.
Wow.
And Fonlon driving
The Volkswagen
Beetle. When ministers were
those days,
driving, Pajeros, there were probably no Pajeros at the time, but some very fanciful French cars.
Okay.
And there he was with his Beetle, but when I got to the university, he was no longer a minister.
I see.
Because he was already a university professor.
Oh,
He had already left the ministry. The Ministry of Health was his last ministry.
Cardinal states that he was dismissed from.
Yes, he was. In fact, he's said to have stepped on the toes of some medical doctors in Yaoundé, and there was an outcry. He wanted to transfer some of them out of Yaoundé. Some of them had, instead of working in the hospitals where they were sent, opened their private clinics. It still continues to today anyway. Opened their private clinics and had more time in their private clinics than in the hospitals where they were sent. So he decided to transfer some of them out of Yaoundé.
Exactly.
It was an outcry.
Okay.
Those doctors went to Hijo and said, this is not possible. They threatened to riot or revolt. I mean, it was an uproar in Yaoundé.
Wow.
So Hijo asked him to step down, to calm those people.
Okay.
And he said, well, I didn't ask to be a minister. You called me here, so you asked me to go. I will go. My place is at the university. I'm a university professor. Okay. So I went to university. So he went and was teaching at the university. When I got there in 1970, 71 actually. Actually I got there in 73.
Okay.
Yeah, because from 70 to 72 I was in Bambili during my high school.
Oh.
Then 72 to 72, 73, 74. Yeah, 74 I was at the University of Yaoundé.
Yes, I get your wonderful article about Bambili.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sometimes, George, when I sit down and relaxing, some of those things just flash and come back to mind.
And you put them to writing?
I put them to
Wow, that's lovely.
Yeah. So, when I got to the University of Yaoundé, of course I've known about Fonlon, I've heard about him, my brother was working with him, and all. We saw before I met him face to face, I already knew
who the man was.
Yes, who the man really was.
Okay.
And so, I remember the day I went to his house. First of all, you're kind of surprised to see even the man's dress. He used to wear something just,
Okay, khaki.
Yeah, khaki.
Professor Fonlon said khaki.
Yeah, khaki man. He was very much a khaki man.
Simple,
yeah. You're looking at
sandals.
him. Sandals, yeah. And I remember the first day we met him, we were sitting around the table.
Okay.
And of course, my brother was more familiar with him, and so other people who were there.
Okay.
I was a much younger person then, so I sat at the one corner and, you know, kind of looking at this man and saying, does it feel like to be this type of person? You know? This is a legend, his name goes so far and wide, and is he really the one sitting here like this?
Wow.
He looks so
Simple.
cracking jokes, you know, talking and, and telling me, oh, you'll be my student. He asked me what I was to study, and I said, I was doing a bilingual degree. And he said, okay, I will be my African department, African literature.
Was he there?
Yes, he was the head of department.
Yes,
Head
okay.
of department. Yes. So I studied under him.
Okay.
For the years I was there.
He taught you.
He taught me, yes. He taught me.
Can you recount any experience in class? Fonlon entering the class?
Yeah, Fonlon coming to class, you know, it was, you know, many people who met him for the first time were just as surprised. It really was, you know, this simple looking man walking around. Is this Fonlon? It was not rare for you somebody to say, hey, that's Professor Fonlon, and people say, oh, really?
Okay.
Vraiment, c'est Dr. Fonlon. Something like that.
Okay.
There were a few of them there. I also remember another one who struck me as being was Jumbam,
The Jesuit.
the Jesuit priest. You see, what struck me about him was his cassock.
Okay.
What he used to wear.
Yeah.
You know, out in Bamenda and in Kumbu, we used to see priests in very white, nice.
Well
iron cassock, and here's this man with a, you know, very ruffled,
Twisted.
twisted. He's just walking around. He used to drive I don't know, one French car there, looking very beaten. And you know, so I was told that was a historian, you know, and it was not rare for me to see them in Fonlon and him talking, and I said, look at these two.
Yeah, I think they were very good friends.
Yeah, they used to, you know. Oh, I will meet them. I don't know what they were talking about.
Okay.
But you know, the two of them standing and talking was it's a great picture.
Okay.
So anyway, going back to the first time I met Fonlon.
Yes.
So I remember that evening we were at a table, and of course I had nothing to say particularly. I was just kind of watching and listening.
Okay.
So my brother, him, and one or two other people who were there.
Yeah.
And they were talking, and you know, it's a small young person who sat there listening to him.
Mm.
And then, of course, the day, my first class with him,
Okay.
you know, we were in my bilingual degree class. We were few of us. So I think it was among the smallest class at that time.
Okay.
There were just about 12 of us in class.
I see.
The French side, the English side, the French side. There were about 34 of them, which was considered at that time to be a big class. It's not like now where you have, I don't know,
Thousands.
Yeah, you know. So we were, Fonlon, he introduced me to African American literature, the poetry, the prose, yes. W.E.B. Du Bois was really one of his favorites. We did Du Bois' book, The Soul of Black Folks, I think that was the title.
Okay.
Beautifully written book like this.
Wow.
The Soul of Black Folks.
Okay.
And then, of course, he had met Du Bois personally. He knew him.
Wow.
Yes. And there was a meeting of African writers in Paris in the 1956.
I saw that picture.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And he had met Du Bois in Paris.
Okay.
And of course, he talked about it constantly. Met Du Bois and so on. Yeah. Yeah, that's from there.
It says, Fonlon, student with
African is in Paris, 1956. That's correct.
Du Bois.
Yeah. No, I don't think Du Bois was in this picture.
Okay.
These
These were in Paris.
In Paris, where there were African writers. Adriana, this is from somebody from Madagascar.
Okay.
Adrian Taylor, something long name. Sheikh Anta Diop. Oh wow. Bernard Dadier.
Yes.
Sheikh Anta Diop was a Senegalese. Bernard Dadier was from Ivory Coast.
Okay.
And there were a few others.
I see.
Yeah. And so they were in Paris, and he met Du Bois there.
Okay.
They became quite a fan of Du Bois.
Oh.
So he introduced me to African American literature. And in fact, when I completed my studies,
When did you complete in
1976.
Okay.
It was from, I think, 72 to 76. Because when we were doing a bilingual degree, you did 4 years instead of the 3 the others were doing, because there was a language immersion course done abroad.
Okay.
We went to Aix-en-Provence in southern France
Okay.
from 72 to 73.
Wow.
Our French colleagues went to Leeds, I think, in England.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went to, so the bilingual degree took 4 years instead of the 3 that the others. You went for a straight English degree, you did 3 years. You went for a bilingual degree, you did 4 years because of this. The language immersion course.
Okay.
We did it in Aix-en-Provence, southern France.
I see.
Yes. So Fonlon introduced me to African American literature. When I completed in 76, he was very much, wanted me to go to, first of all, he said there was a lot of literature written in Arabic in northern Cameroon. And that literature is practically inaccessible to, to other people who are non-Arab speaking people. And what he had in mind, which is, Fonlon was somebody who looked into the future.
Okay.
He told me and another classmate of mine, David Masanda,
Okay.
he said, he wanted to get a scholarship for me and David to go to Cairo to study Arabic,
Interesting.
Arabic literature.
Wow.
With his aim was, if we came back,
Yes.
we would
Translate.
work in the north and translate the literature that is in Arabic in the north with those Lamides and all the other people, and translate them into French or English to give it
a more wider.
That's right, to open it to the world.
Okay.
You see, but that didn't quite work because he told us, he was a good friend of the Egyptian ambassador in Yaoundé.
Okay.
So his intention was to go talk with the ambassador. Yes, and get us the scholarship. Then things always happen in Cameroon.
Yes.
He went to somebody who was in tourism. It was the Department of Tourism.
Okay.
And the person was somebody from the north.
Yes.
So he told the person, look, get these young men prepared so that they can go and study. He was going to talk to the ambassador of Egypt.
Okay.
Then the Egyptian ambassador at that time, I think, was changed, was transferred somewhere. So a new person came in. And it took a while for him to get to that one.
Okay.
Yes. But then the person who was in the Ministry of Tourism, I think at that time tourism was still like a department, not a ministry, it was a full-fledged ministry. Yes, the person, is always the case in Cameroon, took our documents and hid it somewhere. We never knew where it went. But it's got a long story short.
Wow.
Then that site didn't work. So he told me, look, apply, right? I will get you a place in, I think it was either Atlanta, somebody in Atlanta or somewhere where I could study African American literature.
Okay.
And come back and teach.
Wow.
You see, but in between that time, I completed my studies and applied to the presidency and to the National Assembly since I did a bilingual degree.
Yeah.
And the presidency took me to be to work as a translator.
Okay.
You see, but then I thought, okay, I'll be working as a translator in the presidency and working on the master's degree with Fonlon in African literature. But then the presidency came up with another idea. They said, look, the Spanish government has given a number of scholarships to students to study Spanish
in Spain.
In Spain, you see. And I had studied Spanish back in the bilingual grammar school in Manowobe, where we were, for my O levels.
Interesting.
But then after O level, I didn't study Spanish anymore.
I see.
So the people at the presidency said, "Oh yeah, we said that you did Spanish for your O levels. You have not studied Spanish ever since. That's no obstacle at all."
Okay.
You see,
yeah.
This scholarship for Spain is given. I think we're about 3 of us who were given the scholarship.
Yeah.
Would you want to take it? So I said yes. I wasn't sure. To tell you the truth.
The former experience.
Yeah, well, I wasn't really sure whether I wanted to go to Spain. Fonlon had a plan for me to go to Atlanta and do something else, and I'm going to Spanish. I've not spoken Spanish in years. But the person who made me go was Dr. Nanto.
Okay.
Yes. When I completed from the University of Yaoundé, I started working with Dr. Lanto in KISS.
Yes,
he took me there, and I was translating some things for him, and working with him. He was doing research work in somewhere in the east and in the northwest.
Okay.
Yes, and he took me, and I was working with him. In fact, he's the first person who gave me my first salary.
In this country?
First salary ever.
Wow.
50,000 francs.
In those days,
what are you talking about? My salary, 50,000, he gave it to me. I couldn't believe it. Because he asked me to come and work with him.
Exactly.
There was no discussion of anything.
No contract.
Okay, yeah. I thought he was going to give me 5,000 at the end or something like that.
Okay.
He went out for the whole month.
Yes.
At the end of the month, he called me in and said, he gave me an envelope. He said, there's money in it. I counted it, 50,000. He said, yeah, that's your money. I said, what for? He said, well, you earned the money. It's your son. I was shocked. As a student, I said, so I took it to my brother, Kenjo. He was working in Yaoundé at the time. And I said, listen, this is what I just gave me. It's my son. My brother said, well, Dr. Dan is a good man. So it's your money. You see where you want it. Anyway, so Dr. Lantum told me, because when the president told me that there was a scholarship for me, it was already, they wanted me to leave almost immediately.
Wow.
Yes. And I was confused.
I can imagine.
So I went to Dr. Lantum, I was working with him then, and I told him this is what has happened. He was excited. He said, look, take leave.
Okay.
Yes, just go. This country, it's not easy to leave this country.
Okay.
Now that is the presidency sending you out there, just go. Whatever happens out there, I know you will fend for yourself. If you get there and things don't work out, you will be able to do something else. Just go. So then I went to Fonlon and I said, this is what has happened, and I'm going to the scholarship. He said, don't go. Please don't go to Spain. I have plans for you. The greatest confusion I've ever had. And my brother Kenjo was then in Bamenda. He had been transferred to Bamenda. If he was here, somebody I always went to.
Exactly.
And I just couldn't. And it's not like these days where you pick up your phone
and call.
There was no way I could contact him in Bamenda.
Oh my God.
It was a moment of great confusion for me. And Fonlon said, don't go. Lantum said, go. So finally, I decided to go. Okay. To Spain. And my documents were prepared for me in a question of a week.
Wow.
Yes. But then I still had, because we had gone to Paris, to France. Yeah. For the immersion course, so I still had my passport. Yes. So it was just prolonged, and I was given a visa, everything, given to leave. So I went to see Fonlon and I said, no, I'm going. So he was kind of sad. So he said, look, okay, I understand, you can go. And I went and completed my studies. I was in Spain for 1 year. Okay. Went to Paris to go to what do they call it? Exit.
Oh, Exit.
Exit was the course superior d'interprétation et de traduction. Yes, Exit. Okay. You see, but I was not successful in the test. Okay. Yes, Then I enrolled in the Sorbonne.
I see.
Yes, to do more perfect my French.
So there was this possibility from Spain to go back to school, it's not far. Spain, Sorbonne.
Oh yeah. Of course, I was young then. I traveled just like that. Although that was by train and hitchhiking.
Okay.
It was the time I hitchhiked almost through Spain, standing by the roadside with my thumb up.
Oh.
Picking me up,
How
dropping me along the way. It was quite an experience. Yes, but I went to Paris, did a maîtrise in African and Comparative Literature.
I see.
Yes, but that enabled me to perfect my French too. Then from there,
And before you continue to write a wonderful book which you just published.
Yeah.
About Spain. So it was very popular.
Yes. In fact, it's from those days,
I really look forward to reading that book.
Yes, I carry that out from my stay in Paris. Yeah, people ask me if it's an autobiography. It's not quite an autobiography, although there are autobiographical elements in it. But it's a story about a young Cameroonian who is there. But you can see the in
exactly in the story.
Yes, in the story.
Okay.
Yeah, so those things, Fonlon felt quite disappointed that I had gone to Atlanta. Okay. So I went to Paris, to Madrid, Paris, and then then I went to Washington D.C.
Okay.
Yes.
That's where you wrote your article, which I read on Facebook. There's something you wrote in Washington. As early as then, 79, I was impressed.
Yes, I've been into writing for a good part of my life.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a passion.
It's a passion. I always tell people that if I had lived in North America or somewhere out there, maybe I would have been making a living.
Okay.
That's right.
That's true.
Yes.
There
are lots of things that are written here. Just even when you publish something in a magazine and you tell the person, man, why don't you give me something? They say, oh no, it's nothing.
It's not encouraging.
No. You cannot make a living as a writer here. It's not possible.
Oh.
So still with Fonlon.
Yes.
When I went to Washington D.C.
So you came back to Cameroon after that experience in Spain?
No.
Okay, from there just...
From Spain I went to Paris, Washington D.C.
Okay.
Did translation interpretation studies.
Wow.
And then when I was in Washington D.C.,
yes.
I got a call from Stephen Arnold, Professor Stephen Arnold of the University of Alberta in Edmonton. He had just come to Cameroon.
Yes.
And when he was in Cameroon, he met my brother, Kenjo, in Yaounde.
Interesting.
Yes, and then Kenjo told him I was in Washington D.C.
Okay.
So he came to Canada and called me.
Wow.
We started a correspondence, maintained contacts for quite a while.
Okay.
Then when I completed my interpretation and translation interpretation studies, he told me, listen, if you come over to Alberta, there's a possibility that you could get a scholarship or a grant to continue your studies. And I thought about it and I said, okay, why not? So I went to Alberta. And one of the reasons I went to Alberta was that my wife, her name is my wife now, had just finished her studies at the University of Yaoundé. We were friends and then fiancé and so on. Okay. And she was at the University of Yaoundé. She completed and was sent to Yaoundé to teach English.
Wow.
But then, I thought if I went to Canada, it was easy for me to bring her over.
Exactly.
Yes. So that's what I did. I went to Canada. It was a violation of my contract with the presidency because I was supposed to come back. So I went to Canada. Okay. And she was able to join me.
Alberta, cold Canada.
Oh my goodness. Is it ever cold out there?
Oh, Alberta.
Yes.
The capital is Calgary, right?
No, the capital is Edmonton.
Edmonton!
That's where we were.
Calgary is just up there small.
Yes, Calgary is the second city there.
Exactly.
There's this rivalry between